Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your weekly reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. If you're watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Taurus, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here's the Fool card. This is such a fun card, right? Especially right out of the gate. First card that we pulled today happens to be the Fool. You're somebody with a really playful side of yourself. Everybody thinks Taurus is just hardworking and, well, kind of boring because all you do is work and succeed and push forward, and you're all about building and progress and growing and all this sort of stuff. But you've got a very playful side to you. You're someone who likes to have fun. You're somebody that wants novelty, wants new things, wants to experience life, wants to expand your horizons, wants to expand your mind, expand your consciousness, right? We don't want our universe to be all small and limited, and this is all I know is right here. No, you're somebody, maybe even right now you're feeling a little bit of that wanderlust, a little bit of that travel bug, and we all get that sometimes. It's the feeling like we want to just run, we want to just grab our car keys and just go. Wherever the road's going to take us. Yeah, no map, no GPS, let's just go, So we've got to see where this energy is playing out for you, how you might be able to express this part of yourself, and what the benefits will be. Yeah, so let's put some more cards out on the table, all right? We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. We've got our Fool, and we've got our Emperor, okay? Interesting combination here. We've got our Six of Cups, and Ace of Swords, a Ten of Swords, and a Nine of Pentacles. Well, that feels quite nice. I think that there is discipline that's necessary for you, but maybe in this situation, I want to say your work situation, but when I say work on this channel, I don't just mean what you do for money. I don't just mean that you're a 30-something, 40-something, and you got a job, career. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager or you're 120 years old. Your work is whatever you're focused on, whatever you're putting your time, energy, and or money into, okay? It could be a job or career. It could be your art. It could be your family. It could be your health. It could be your spirituality. It could be your charity, your service. It could be it could just be money. It could just be, I'm all business, right? So work is just what you're spending your days burning calories doing, okay? Also, Taurus, if there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments to this video. Let's finish up. Let's put the rest of our cards on the table here. Princess of Wands. Ooh, the Eon card. Two of Swords. And an Eight of Swords. And Eight of Swords. I feel like you really do have this wanderlust about you. But, a card. Interesting. I think this card's going to be important. This card did not want to go back in the pack. So you know what? Let's use this as our mystery card today. What do you say? We'll do things a little differently. Shh. Don't tell the other signs. This is just for you, okay? We'll put this as our mystery card. We'll put Alien Simon Morg Ripley right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the end. It's kind of giving me some nostalgia here because when I first started doing readings here on YouTube, that's what I would do. I would take just another card from the Thoth Tarot pack and put that as our mystery card before we started using other decks, If you have a prediction for that card, please put it in the comments down below. We can use our intuition. right? It doesn't hurt. But let's look around the room here. Major, major, and a major arcana. You having this discipline and having this authority and having this sort of, having someone telling you what to do, even if this is yourself, right? Even if you're keeping yourself so strictly disciplined in your life, you need something else. You're looking to shut the door and go through the door, shut it behind you, sort of thing, right? You're looking for something different. You're looking for a way to expand your horizons, expand your mind, right? And so our Fool is really trying to get out, but we've got this Emperor that's saying, no, you stay back there. We're trying to hide it away, and it really could be that there is someone in your life that is acting as that authority figure. Maybe it's a boss, maybe it's a parent or a spouse that's trying to say, no, you don't need to be creative right now. You don't need to do anything different. Stay here. Keep doing what you're doing. We have rules. See, look at these rules. It's kind of saying, we have procedures here. You're not being paid to think outside the box. You're not being paid to think at all. You're being paid to just do your work, right? I feel like there's some sort of containing energy in your life like that. Yeah. And I feel like that wasn't originally your plan in life, was to get comfortable somewhere that was sort of limiting. It's almost as if the Emperor is really micromanaging the Fool. And well, if you're a complete fool, yeah, someone's got to be your handler, right? Someone's got to show you what to do and make sure you do it. Someone's got to keep your butt on track, right? But it feels like somebody's trying to micromanage you, and it feels like this Fool is really in there trying to escape. Yeah, that we kind of want to do this really kind of big, scary decision. We want to take this big risk, and maybe it's, it could be we're struggling internally between our own sort of our own executive function, right? Where the ego is the rational mind, even trying to contain this wanderlust, this creative. This is, the Fool just wants to leap into the unknown, wants to transcend, wants to try something really, really big, either the dumbest thing you've ever done in your life or the most magical, wonderful thing you've ever done in your life. Right? Taking a full leaping headlong into the unknown. Just jumping into the darkness, right? And of course, the Emperor is saying, no. We don't take risks that way, right? And, this again, it could be an energy that's manifesting outside of you, though I don't believe it is. I feel like this is something we're internally wrestling with. Our need for law and order and our need for some effing freedom, some creativity. I want to go explore the universe, but what we got is a pretty good thing. That's just, we're trying to micromanage ourselves. And in some ways, too much discipline is going to be, I think, just as bad as too little discipline. Okay? And on this channel, I very often talk about the need for good habits, the need for a focus, the need for discipline. Discipline leads to freedom, but discipline can also inhibit freedom. Right? Because when does all that discipline sort of give way to this feeling of, okay, I'm free to sort of do whatever I want now? But we could be looking at the same thing just from different angles, Because look at this. The Fool wants to jump headlong into the unknown, wants to leap into the abyss, right? Wants to just jump off that cliff, metaphorically speaking. And the Emperor is saying, okay, you want all of that transcendence. You want that freedom and that expansion. But see, the Fool is just pure air. And air, we know, any kind of gas is just going to fill the container it's in. If you're in an infinite universe, your consciousness just wants to fill that universe, right? And the Fool can be a little bit inconsiderate. Sometimes the Fool doesn't always jump into the right things. Sometimes the Fool can be, as we see with our Princess of Wands, a little bit risky. reckless even, right? So perhaps this is the way of saying, yeah, you got this fool, you got this playful, freedom-loving, free spirit energy. It does need a little bit of discipline. But how do we find the right kind of balance? That's the difficulty. And that's why the Two of Swords is in the position of the difficulty, right? Too little discipline, and any plan that we may have it's ruined, right? Because the Fool doesn't have a plan. The Fool doesn't have any discipline. The Fool doesn't have any kind of focus, has no direction, right? So if you're somebody that, as we see with an Ace of Swords, you've got goals in your life. You know, you want to be able to have an idea or have a plan or have an inspiration and say, okay, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to follow this through until the end. It's like me with my stupid books every single night. I'm trying to find a book to read that I really am just going to pick one and say, I'm going to read this through till the very last page. I don't care how long it takes me. I need that discipline. But my Fool is just, I read a couple pages of one book and then another book, another book, another book, another book. I lose interest quickly, right? It's just a phase. I don't know, my age or something. It's just something I'm going through, you know. And so I never actually get to the end. All of my intentions, my higher mind, my ego is saying, I want to, and whether it's the higher mind or the ego, I think they're sort of in communication with each other. I'm inspired to find that thing and see it through all the way until the end. But the Fool with no direction, and the Fool is just sort of a little bit lackadaisical, right? The Fool is just a little bit fickle, right? The Fool just likes their dalliance. Never going to arrive at the goal of anything. Okay, so all of our plans will be ruined. That's 10 of Swords. And the Fool, without any discipline, the Fool left to its own devices, is going to go from one ace to another ace to another ace to another ace to another ace, on and on and on and on and on. Never actually accomplishing anything. Okay? I'm never actually reading a book. I'm never actually getting any plans of mine finished. Because there needs to be discipline. And discipline is sometimes a little bit in conflict, I guess. I'm trying to search the right word here. A little bit antithetical to our joy. I just want to feel good. I want pleasure, right? 6 of Cups. I want to do things that feel good. Of course. I want to read the book, and maybe it feels good for a paragraph or two, and then I just think, oh, this is going to be dense. This is not going to be fun, right? And so I'll look for something else. And so our sort of eternal, that part of us that is eternally searching for joy, and it's part of our Fool energy too. I think it's a foundational factor for all of us. We want to enjoy life. Yeah. And so our Fool enjoys life by a couple of paragraphs here, a couple paragraphs here, a couple paragraphs here. I'll spend a few minutes with you over here, then I'll go talk to this person over here for a minute or two, and it's really just the social butterfly, bouncing around, gets to know everybody at the party, forgets all of their names by the time they leave. Nothing sticks to the Fool, right? It's just moment-to-moment enjoyment or pleasure, that immediate gratification that doesn't last. Yeah. But with a little bit of discipline, then we're still motivated by our 6 of Cups, but it takes on a more sort of long-term joy. There's a deeper satisfaction here. Now, it may not always be so pleasurable to be reading this particular book. I'm looking at philosophy books. I'm thinking, well, maybe I want to read one of these classic novels. I'm thinking maybe I'll start reading Walden. And it's not always going to be, in every moment and every page is going to be just joy and euphoria and bliss, right? But it's a long-term benefit. It's a long-term satisfaction, especially getting to the end of something. Finishing that book and thinking, wow, I did it. I accomplished something. I finished the whole book without jumping to a million other things, and it's taken me 10 years to read one book. And so it's not so much about the delayed gratification. It's not saying I have to hate every moment of this book. Every page is going to be torture. But at the end, when I'm done, then I'll feel good. I feel good because I'm done with the damn thing, So it's not that. But it's about this underlying joy of, being able to set your mind on something and do it, even through the fluctuations. Someday I'm not going to be so into it. Maybe I won't read too much that day, but then, the interest will be renewed. And I think it's more about the motivation and the satisfaction of doing something and getting to really know something or someone. And it's a consistent effort over time, the satisfaction during the journey, and then also the satisfaction at the end when you get to celebrate the conclusion of it, And so discipline, we can see, will lead us to the ongoing gains, a progress, right? This is a verb. This is a 9. This is a generative card. This is a card that grows more. This is a card that generates more and more of something. Pleasure, joy, satisfaction, maybe dollars and cents. Okay? So without discipline, we end up with nothing. But with the right amount of discipline, we end up generating, right, whatever it is we're trying to generate in life, whether it's joy, experience, love, whether it's money, whatever it is. In this case, I feel like it is kind of a pleasure, a deeper satisfaction of life. Yeah. So in your situation, it feels like you do have a very definite goal here. There's something that you wish to accomplish. You want that 9 of Pentacles. You want to feel as if your life is generating something, that your efforts are generating something. Okay. But you don't want to be so overloaded with discipline that we end up feeling stifled or micromanaged, okay, or limited. Okay, because, and I'm kind of jumping around to the cards today, but we talked about too little discipline, right, leading to nothing. Right. This is no one and they're nowhere, right? Too much discipline leads up here to the 8 of Swords. In some ways, even worse than the 10 of Swords, right? They're both pretty bad. But at least with the 10 of Swords, we realize that, okay, that wasn't the one, I can start over. When we get here, too much discipline, and we feel trapped. We feel 8 of Swords. We feel like, I can't go, I can't move anywhere, I can't do anything. I can't come, I can't go, I can't, I can't turn around. I can't think of a different way out, right? I can't express myself. I don't have a voice. We feel choked off, right? Because too much discipline in this case is the too much attention to detail, too much organization, too much discipline, structure, too much sort of nitpicking, right? Too much of this management is good. We need to manage ourselves, manage our own foolish energy. But we don't want to micromanage. We don't want to overmanage, right? Because then we feel completely trapped. And so in a lot of ways, the 8 of Swords is way worse than a 10 of Swords. At least the 10 of Swords is something I can see, I can get out of it, I can go back, do something else. The Fool at least has that freedom, And it's really, it's sort of it's a freedom it's habitual and there's a pattern to it, and it's not really accomplishing anything. It's not leading us to our 9 of Pentacles, but at least it is not sort of that claustrophobic, tied up, tangled up in those wires kind of feeling. Okay? So if we had to go one way, I'd sort of go the way of having too little discipline rather than too much. Okay? But what we want is the right balance. And the 6, of course, is a balance. It's a harmony. we're resonating with ourselves here, that we have the plan, we have a focus, there's something we're trying to do. Whether this is a business thing, maybe this is you with your, this is in the job, the workplace you do, this is whatever that work is, right? There's a goal, there's a purpose to it. There was an intention, that there's a reason why you're here, okay? There's something that you're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is, of course, generate something in our lives. Pleasure, experience, love, again, money, whatever. And so you're here. And looming over your head, of course, is this 10 of Swords, because we feel as if we're not able to create anything. That all of this plan, that our intention, the reason why we're here, we thought we were going to be, achieving something, building something, growing something, generating something. And sort of everywhere we turn, it seems like we are just being thwarted, right? So, what do we do? Well, I think your Fool is trying to sort of get to the surface. There is this need for transcendence. There's this need for sort of breaking out of that over-disciplined, micromanaged feeling that I think is really choking you off. So maybe our 10 of Swords becomes the recognition that, yeah, the Fool may not know where they're going, may not have a plan or direction, but the first step, I think, is to break free of this tangle of wires, this bird cage that we're in. Okay? It's like somebody's looking at you under a microscope. Somebody's always breathing over your shoulder. And if somebody's always sort of staring at you and staring at what you're doing, it's kind of, it's hard to do your best, It's hard to really be creative. It's hard to feel trusted. It's hard to feel free enough that you can be yourself and you can do it and you can let it flow, right? I don't know anybody that performs their best when somebody is micromanaging them or looking at their work under a microscope or is constantly looking over their shoulder, judging what they're doing. I don't know anybody that thrives in that situation, okay? So the Fool really wants that 10 of Swords so we can go back to the drawing board and sort of get back to our original intention, okay? Now, the 9 of Pentacles is in the very center of the table. You're trying to gain something. You want that big win. You want that jackpot. You want to generate something in your life. You're trying to change your life, grow your life. Okay? Now, this could be money. This could be time, energy. This could be health, right? That our discipline or our freedom, our lack of discipline, we're trying to optimize our lives. Let's say maybe this is a health thing. Maybe this is about your physical fitness and well-being. Well, we want discipline, but not too much discipline, because that backfires too. We don't want too little discipline, because obviously we're never going to accomplish our goal that way. So we need the right mixture of discipline and sort of freedom, This could be the return on the investment. Okay. And if we are having that sort of Fool issue, like me with the darn books, I'm always sort of maybe overanalyzing the return on the investment. I think of a book, pick up a book. Okay, I'm going to read this one. Cover to cover, okay? Maybe it's going to take me a month, 2 months, whatever. It's 500 pages, fine. I'm going to read it, cover to cover. Some days will be very rewarding. Some days will not. Some days will feel very fun and good. Some days will feel like I didn't do anything, okay? But if I'm overanalyzing, then I begin to think of, okay, I'm going to invest, an hour a day for like a couple weeks or whatever reading this book. What is it going to do for me? What am I going to get out of it? Well, that is a little bit of self-sabotage, right? Because then that part of us says, well, it's not worth it. Just read something fun. Read something short. Read something that's fun, and just do something that is just pleasurable now in the moment, because that kind of investment, what are you going to have at the end of the book? I'm going to shut the book, be like, okay, yay, I did it. Big deal. Now what? Right? Well, let's look at the path of the serpent here. All right. Because we see your first card, general energy, is the Princess of Wands. The Princess of Wands does not care about long-term goals. I just want to have this fun right now. This is the card about taking risks. This is the card that if we have the discipline, and it's kind of in a way, it's a little bit of the Fool with a little bit of the Emperor together, then we're doing the calculated risks. Then we are doing things that are going to feel good now, but there's also a long-term benefit to them. Okay? So we're not spending too much time worried about the future. What am I getting? What's the return on this investment? But we're not dwelling on sort of the desire that we have in that moment to just feel the gratification. Okay, it's a little bit of a mixture, right? The Fool is someone that is staying in the ever-present moment. That's all the Fool cares about, is what it's doing right now. Forgets the moment as soon as the moment's over. Okay, I used to call that like the goldfish memory, but then someone told me that goldfish are actually very smart, so I don't use that analogy anymore, or that metaphor. But the Fool is in the ever-present moment. The Emperor is trying to have a little bit of direction, a little bit of focus on that Fool, so that we can have that moment and that feeling of the moment and that curiosity and that gratification and that novelty right now, but also there will be a return on the investment at the same time. Now the Fool becomes the risky behavior, but the Fool with a little bit of discipline, a little bit of direction, becomes now calculated risk. Rather than being reckless, we're taking the calculated risk. See, there's a difference there. We don't want to be reckless. But you have this energy now where you want to do something that transcends. You want to get the heck out of this situation where you're being sort of micromanaged or looked at with the microscope. Okay? And so that the Fool then is just sort of that impulse to do something completely reckless. I'm just going to up and quit my job. I'm going to flip the table over. I'm going to walk out, I'm going to just leap into the unknown, into the darkness, come what may. I'm tired of it. I think we've all felt that way at times. But then we've got the next card, the Eon card, Judgment, Rebirth, Reawakening, the Baptism by Fire. Having a little bit of the discipline of the Emperor. Okay, we may still be breaking free of this limiting energy, this micromanaged sort of energy, this being bogged down in the details of things that we're not actually able to make any sort of progress. It's like we're just buried in paperwork. Somebody is coming along and just giving you a lot of nonsense work to do that's not allowing to actually do anything productive. Okay, now maybe this is a work situation, right? But the Eon card is saying that, look, there's another way that we can get out of this, but it can't be reckless. It can be a calculated risk. It's going to be difficult. It maybe is going to hurt, but it's going to lead you to something that is successful and productive and generative, right, and profitable. And so we have to use a little bit of that discipline, and maybe this means that we have to bide our time a little bit, that we have to calculate, we have to get a strategy and a plan. Maybe the mystery card will help us with that. But this is a definite decision. In your environment, you are making a big change in your life. Don't do it recklessly. Do it carefully, right? Do it with discipline, with calculation. Okay? We're not reckless. We are calculatedly risky. I don't know if that's a right phrase. And so we're using this as an intentional decision, a way to move out of this situation into a better one, and not just jumping, leaping into the unknown, because we'll probably go out of the frying pan right into the fire. No, we've got to have a plan. Okay? More than having a plan, we have to have the discipline to stick to the plan. Remember our ace to a 10. I have a plan, but it's always going to fail if I'm just the fool. Maybe sometimes the fool accomplishes something, but it's really kind of up to chance and random, right? Unpredictable. So we're going through this doorway. We're making a definite decision. Okay? The obstacle is, of course, making that decision. The obstacle is this internal dichotomy between the fool and the emperor, because it's kind of like, I've served too many masters kind of thing. Well, if we can discipline ourselves and find a higher principle, connect with your higher self, let that energy discipline you, or to give you that sense of focus and discipline in your life, right? That is something that has your best interest at heart, rather than somebody else that's sort of controlling your life, or a situation that is, or even the way we do that to ourselves, the way we can kind of over-discipline ourselves by having too much data, too much organization, too much rigid structure, too much routine. Okay? And sometimes the mind, the intellect, right, the swords cards, the air energy, starts to think that it's the higher self, And this is the obstacle that we have to get over, because the mind, it kind of dresses up in this very nice suit, right, with a nice sweater and tie and everything, puts on the captain's hat and says, I'm the true self. I know what's best, and I am disciplining our life, and I am organizing everything. It's like one of these horror movies, right, where you think it's someone is running the ship, and they're doing all these weird things, and the micromanaging and the over-discipline and all this organization, all these mountains of paperwork that we have to do. And sometimes we just think, well, okay, I guess that must be the right way, right? Come to find out at the end of the movie, the inmates are running the asylum, you see. And so we have to be careful of that, because sometimes we get into this realm of ego where we feel as if everything we're doing is directed by the higher self. And very often we're mistaken, okay? And I think that with this Two of Swords, especially with the Ace and with this Two of Swords, there's the idea of going back to simplicity, okay? Going back to a very fundamental mission. What are you trying to generate in your life? And what is the simplest way that your fool can get a little bit of focus to do that? It doesn't need to be complicated, right? We don't have to. Discipline does not mean that it is complex. Okay. Just as freedom does not mean there's a lack of complexity, that there's a lack of order, that there's a lack of organization or structure. That's not what freedom means. Freedom is basically the best way, the most efficient way for you to take your intention or your goal, your idea, and build it, generate it, materialize it. The fastest way from your idea to the realization of that idea. That's freedom. Being able to say, I want to do this in my life. Okay, here, it's done. Your will is done. Right. That Eight of Swords, this is something that we really need to recognize. And we need to break out of that. Okay. Two of Swords kind of looks like a pair of scissors. Okay, we're cutting through all this nonsense. We're shredding everything in the paper shredder. I'm going back to simplicity. I'm just going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to have the discipline to go through it because I know what I'm building. I know what I want. I want to have a little bit of peace, right? The Two of Swords, peace of mind. I don't want to be bogged down. I don't want to be nervous that someone's looking over my shoulder. You know? There's a definite change coming. This is a doorway right in front of you, and you're being you're being directed to this. But the Fool is just sort of wandering around. It needs a little bit of The emperor's got to just kind of grab the fool by the hand and say, okay, we're going in this direction. This is what we're going to do. This is the quickest way between point A and point B is not a straight line. It's folding time and space and just instantly being there. It's going through this wormhole, right? And so we don't have to give the mind the opportunity to make such a complex mess of everything. And whatever you're focused on in your life, I feel like there's been a constant effort to get through to something, to generate something, to produce whatever this is, but we keep running into problems. Okay, maybe it is something that we're trying to write a simple novel, right? And it just keeps getting more and more complex. To me, it feels like a Stephen King novel, right? I'm trying to read Stephen King. I got 25% through it, and I just said, I don't know what's going on. It's flashbacks within future flashes, fast forwards, and it's just, to me, I don't know. I don't want to say anything disparaging. I love the books. I love that genre. But maybe for me at this time in my life, it feels too complex. You know, I read also Rendezvous with Rama, Arthur C. Clarke. Simple, short book, simple, to the point. It wasn't very complex, you know, and I enjoyed that sort of thing. Maybe that's just me and who I am. Maybe I'm simple, you know. But I feel that it's a complexity that doesn't need to be there. And I feel like sometimes that's a self-sabotage mechanism. You know, that we give too much authority over to our intellect and we think, well, the more details there are, the more complex it is, the greater it must be, the more important it must be, right? Simplicity is the name of the game. Let's look at this mystery card. What might this card be? Well, I would like to maybe, I don't know. We've got a little bit of everything. I mean, we've got fire, we've got water, we've got air, we've got a little earth. What if we need another ace? If you have a prediction, put it in the comments down below. I was going to say Ace of Cups. Oh, the Magician, yes. The Magician. See, if the Fool is that raw talent, the Magician is the skill required to make that talent matter, to do something with it, right? Anyone could say, oh, I've got a talent for this or that or this or that. Yeah, but without discipline, without focus, you'll never develop the skill to produce anything with that. Okay? And it's not all about the product. This is not the product. This is the production. This is the process. Okay? And we'll never have any sort of progress, we'll never be involved in the real process of things if we're over-intellectualizing and making things too complex, and especially if we don't have the discipline or the skill to go with that raw talent. Now, I also say that the Fool is no one and nowhere. The Magician is everyone, everywhere. Okay? So, in other words, this is kind of like the freedom or the opportunity or the desire or the life that is out there for you. You could be anyone you want, anywhere you want to do it, but you're not. You're no one, you're nowhere, right? Because the Fool doesn't have any direction, doesn't have any discipline, has all of this potential. It's like you've been given the keys to the kingdom, but you're not doing anything with it. You lost the keys, or you're just, you know what I mean? Someone that's born with, $1 billion and never actually does anything with it, never gets involved in anything. Someone with a wealth of talent, and it never gets applied to anything. Okay. Then we've got this Magician. And the Magician is the discipline that's necessary to take that raw talent and do something with it, to use it in a way that is productive, that is, joyful, that is gratifying. Okay? You can be anyone, anywhere you want. We've got to have the right balance between freedom and discipline, you know. The right balance between the sort of seriousness, right, and the playfulness. And that's how we become the architect of our reality. And the magician is the one that's just constantly involved in that process of creation, of magic, of materialization, of manifestation. Whatever these goals are to you, whatever this process is, I think we understand how to do it now. The intellect, the mind, the complexity is just tangling up all that light that's meant to flow through us and out into the world. The mind sometimes makes a mess of it. It just gets tangled up. It's too complex, too many details, too much unnecessary paperwork that really hinders any kind of process. Okay? It's too bureaucratic in a way. Yeah. I think this is a wonderful confirmation card. Now, we're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top, there's a link down below. New readings for Taurus, Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.